Oh, man. I don't understand. I do understand. I guess I understand it. I just don't. This is my Korean-made Yamaha SG. Just tracked the final part for this song called A Tone, and did it with that guitar. And let's see here. There we go. And the my audio interface, which is the M-Audio black box, and that thing must be, oh God, it was probably made in 2005. So 20 years old, that thing must be. And does it have some, I mean, are all the sounds great? No. But some of them are really good, man. And even the ones that aren't so good are usable. So what I was starting to say is I don't get people that they just shit all over amp sims, and amp sims is not these days. I guess, I don't know. You know what YouTube is like, it's just full of opinions, and you know what they say about opinions. Everybody has one. But anywho, the amp sims are great. Virtual instruments, it's all great. I mean, if it wasn't for virtual instruments, I would, you know, this MIDI controller, I've got a Hammond with a Leslie speaker. The real thing? No. Is it? No. But nobody's ever going to tell the difference. The only difference it is to me is that I don't get the actual enviable experience of playing a real Hammond in the same room with a real rotating Leslie speaker, and feeling the push of the air, and hearing the whir of the machinery, and the whole experience. It can't be, obviously, that's you can't emulate that, but I mean, geez, it's just incredible what we have at our disposal. If you're a drinker, if you're a booze hound, if you're a drunk, functional or otherwise, I started this channel for you, not for me. I used to like YouTube, but yeah. Anyway, I've met a handful of really cool people on here, so I'm not gonna knock it. But if you have a problem with alcohol, look into my channel. Read the description below the video. Read the channel description. You just go to my channel page and look up there somewhere you can click on the channel description. And I've got an email address in there. You can beat it, man. Even if you've been trying for decades and you just can't seem to turn the corner, you can curb stomp the vampire. You can do it. If I did it, anybody can. And I did it without AA. I did it without anybody. Except for my, my creator. But there were times when it felt like just there was nobody. And the thing that kept me from reaching for the bottle in the middle of the night, time and time again, night after sleepless night, was what you see me going on about right here. Now, I was a musician from a long time ago. Of course, I didn't play or write songs, or I didn't do anything for many years. I could say many years. Because, I don't know, when you're younger, you can booze and do art. The universe will forgive you. The universe is very lenient to young people, but I'm 53. You get past a certain age and it just becomes a sad decline, downward spiral, as they say. And anyways, I'm doing the best work of my life now that I'm free of alcohol. Doesn't make all your problems go away by any means, by any measure. If anything, you feel like you have more problems. Because you're not ignoring, you're not putting up that haze of oblivion anymore. But you're much better able to cope with them. And, if you're a creative type, it might take a while to sort of reacclimate yourself to doing creative work without chemical influences, but it's way better in the long run. The work that I'm most proud of, the most inspired work that I've done, it was composed and written in a state of boredom. And at the time, I didn't even think anything of it. It's okay, well, put that aside for a while, come back later, holy shit. Man, now that's something I can work with. I can't tell you how many times alcohol and other influences, and you're bent and just not in your norm. You're in that other state of mind or states of mind, and it lies to you, and you just think it's a lot of stuff that it's not. You come back to it later, hungover and on the downside of that cycle, and not only do you fail to appreciate it the way you did when you were drunk or high or whatever, it actually makes you feel worse about it than you probably should. It's just, anyway, if you're a creative type, if you're a musician and you need to get booze out of your life, I'm here to help if I can. You can't help everybody, man. Some people are truly, they just, they will not, as they say, you can lead a horse to water. Although I wouldn't use that in this case because it sounds condescending, but you can try to help. People can, you live long enough and people will say that they want help. They might appear to be, they might put on an air of humility and contrition about themselves and pay lip service to needing help and wanting help. But you try, and at best, they just go about their merry way and disregard it. And at worst, they turn on you. So, But if you're sincere and good, so I did it. I'm going on 9 months without a drop. And for me, that's just inconceivable. Like I had almost just reconciled myself. I'm gonna lose this battle. I'm probably gonna die from, booze is gonna kill me. I really, really, really thought that at one point. And then, it's different for everybody, but making music was a key, integral part of my finally successfully, and I say that with fingers crossed because, you've got to remain vigilant they say for the rest of your life. And I suppose that's maintain situational awareness. Kind of keep a constant guard. People go for years dry and then they backslide. So, but I don't mean to toot my own horn, but 9 months is a big deal for me. And the payoff is like I'm making music again. Tonight my goal is to finish another music video. I just uploaded a music video last night, and before I bed down here, I'm hoping to upload another one for this song. And anyway, so if you're one of my regular watchers, sorry about this, but I really am here primarily on a mission to, if I could just find one person that I could lend a helping hand to. If I could help one person to save their life, then mission accomplished. So, just skip ahead. I should probably put a timestamp in the description for you guys so you can skip ahead of this stuff. Because there is a point to this video. So if you're a musician, even if you've never recorded anything yourself, you can learn how to do it. It's never been easier, and the tools have never been better or more obtainable. As in, you can get awesome tools, amazing tools for absolutely free. And through trial and error, I know, I can just send you an email and give you a great, a list of great tools to start with, all for free. This DAW right here is, let me just show you that straight up. This is called Cakewalk by BandLab. It's free. Don't listen to the morons that dismiss it on YouTube. YouTube's full of morons. The world is full of morons. And we all are, and I'm trying to be less of one with each passing day. It's my goal every day. If I could just be less of a moron at the end of this day than I was at the end of yesterday. And so Cakewalk is probably more than you'll ever need, more capability than you'll probably ever need. And it's got a great user interface. It's very intuitive. It's easy to learn. And even if you're not a musician, you can become one. There's this thing called desire and will, and these things called desire and will and practice and dedication, fortitude. Those time-honored attributes that people used to value and cherish and aspire to. I mentioned tools. This here is a tool that I'm going to be talking about tonight. I'm going to focus on this tool. And these are tracks. These are all parts in a song. So I'm going to close this tool out for the time being. This is a drum part. This is a synthesizer part. This is a Hammond organ Leslie speaker emulator part. I don't have one of those things. I have a software instrument that emulates it. I can play it with this MIDI keyboard at my side. This is another synth. This is another synth. This is an acoustic guitar that I tracked through this microphone. This is what I recorded tonight. The Yamaha SG electric guitar through the M Audio black box interface. Through an amp sim in it that I think is amazing because it's like super saturated, sweet, harmonic, not fuzz, but distortion. It's kind of fuzz-like without being actual fuzz, and you can play complex chords through it, and it's beautiful. And it's what I'm using these days for my heavy, distorted guitar sounds, which I don't use the way most people use. You're going to see that tonight if you hang around. And this is a vocal part, and this is another vocal part, and this is the bass part, but it's a synth bass played on a synthesizer. And this is cellos, again, virtual instrument cellos. And you can learn how to do all this stuff, man. It's like if you've ever learned any software in your life, even if it's just like Microsoft Word, you can learn how to use this. And I've got, those resources are kind of primitive by now next to this. Not that my production values are anything to write home about, but I did do a video series on how to get started in all this. So the offer is there now. And so if you're new to this and if you're trying to sleep and you're trying not to drink, so I know that one thing that helped me was, and this is harder and harder to find nowadays because of the way YouTube has changed. Everybody's worshiping the almighty malgorism, I call it. It's their religion. They worship it, and it does not favor long content without jump cuts and gimmicks and clickbait, and it favors the worst elements of the human character. And but I'm not here to please the almighty malgorism, and I'm not here to get a lot of subs. One thing that helped me, if I could find it, was just someone doing this. Just another place I could hang out for a couple hours and get my mind off of my, me, and onto something else and somewhere else and someone else, and not feel so alone. This is my bedroom studio, and these are my guitars, and these are my effects pedals, and it's my audio interface, and my MIDI keyboard controller, my computer, my microphones. That's all you need. I mean, you don't even need the guitars. I would recommend having a USB microphone. They're not expensive these days. And if you're just starting out, you'll be happy whatever you get. And a MIDI keyboard. You can play anything on a MIDI keyboard. You can play electric guitars. You can play symphonic instruments. You can play world instruments. You can play drums. Anything you want. And you can program them. You don't even have to play everything with your fingers. You can use your mouse, believe it or not. So, if this is all unfamiliar to you, just and you need something to get your mind off of your misery, hang around, man. And I do crack jokes from time to time. Okay, so, all right, so timestamp is 21 minutes, roughly. 21 and a half minutes. I'll have to remember that. Okay. So tonight we're going to focus on, another thing Cakewalk can do is, this is the first time I'm doing this. I have, as you can see on the top, I have my video loaded into Cakewalk, the Digital Audio Workstation, or DAW, or DAW. Cakewalk also does video. So after I finish mixing and mastering this song, I plan to see if Cakewalk does a good job of compiling and exporting this video. That'll be interesting. So again, these are all parts and tracks in the it's called the mix of the song, the arrangement, but also the mix. And all these channels or tracks are funneled together into one signal in this master channel right here. And this is where the final manipulations to the signal are applied before final output. That's called mastering. Over here, this is called mixing. Getting all these in balance and together and sounding good. And then they all go into one combined signal, and mastering is to fine-tune it for output. Okay? Just so you know. And also, I'm on track 7, which is called Sejong, because that's the name of the electric guitar I played, Sejong, as in King Sejong, the Korean king who invented Hangul, the Korean alphabet. That's what they say. And so that's track 7 or channel 7. I usually say track. That's track 7. And you can see over here, Sejong, track 7. All right. Okay. Actually, just to make this, to make the Cakewalk UI a little bit more, pop out a little bit more, I'm going to turn off this lamp over here. Okay, that's better. Now, and when I do this, when I click this button down here in the lower left-hand corner, you might not be able to see it behind the YouTube watermark, the Lean Bear watermark by the time this comes out. But another way I can do it is, this is a long way, go to Views, and I click Console View. Now, this is all those tracks laid out vertically. And this is, sometimes you want to, this is called console view. Sometimes you want to be in console view, and sometimes you want to be in track view. So right now I'm in track view because I've been tracking, recording instrument part or a vocal part is called tracking. So I've been tracking this instrument part, and now I want it to blend into the mix of all the other instruments, and I want it to sound good. Because here's what it sounds like raw, as I just recorded it. I've already applied a couple of tools here. They're called plugins, and I'll take my here's my level, and I'll take that back to 0.0 is kind of the maximum usually, and so you can hear where this new part kicks in. Just watch the line as it sweeps across, and when it hits here, you'll hear the new guitar part kick in, and you'll go, "Whoa, that's not right." Here we go. Seas I once crossed in defiance. Can I too drown in its healing? Right? That's not going to work. It's way too loud. and it's burying everything else. Right? So it has to be blended into the mix. It needs to be mixed. I need to mix it. And so, having quite a bit of practice, I know more or less what I want to do and how I'm going to do it. And by the time I'm finished with it, it's just going to be a quite subtle layer that just kicks in, a texture. All right, I said I don't use these distortion. This is to simulate like like a rectifier amplifier, guitar amp, like a Mesa Boogie stack or something like that. Or, I don't know. I forget all the brand, Bogner or something like that. A big ass heavy guitar amp. But that's not the way I'm using it. You kind of heard the song before this kicked in. It's not that kind of song, right? Listen again real quick from here. It's not that kind of song. Now, I am attempting to craft a sonic illusion. And I got an indication today that it's working. An illusion, you might say. Illusion, yeah. And no, there's nothing wrong with it. It's not dishonest. It's just, I'm just a guy in a studio, in a bedroom studio at that. It's my bedroom. And I have all these tools at my disposal, all this technology, and my skills, such as they are, and my tastes and my sensibilities. And what do I want to hear? I make the sounds that I want to hear. And what I want to hear songs that sound like it's like you might have heard of this place called Red Rocks Amphitheater in Golden, Colorado. I spent part of my youth in that state, not too far from Golden. And so if you don't know about Red Rocks Amphitheater, it's an outdoor concert venue, an amphitheater carved into the rock and rocks. Is it carved or constructed? I forget. But anyway, it's outdoors, and with the sky, open sky above. And I want it to sound like like a really loud band on that stage. Loud, but like hi-fi. And recorded from a single field recording device from a distance of, let's say, 100 yards. A Sony PCM D50 field recorder, to be exact. I have a very specific sound that I'm attempting to create. Listen again. Can I too drown in its healing? Kind of big, loud, and a bit far away. Now, you hit this amplifier, this amp sim guitar part. How far away does that sound? It sounds like, 3 feet in front of you. So it doesn't match, doesn't fit. It's too loud, but it's not just that it's too loud. It's, other things need to be done to craft the audio illusion. Okay, so I have already. So the first thing to do is to take the level down, take the volume down to a place where it kind of sounds a bit more natural. So in that case, it's about -10. See over here, I'm adjusting it to the left, about -10. Now, it's not done yet, but listen to how much better it sounds, how much more natural it sounds already. That's about the level I wanted it at. That's about the level I wanted at, but it's still too intrusive. It's still, I don't want it to step on anything else, to sometimes fancy words come to my mind that I don't want to use. I don't want it to like bury or obscure any, and after doing this for a while, you think in terms of not just what you hear with your ears on the surface, but you think of frequencies. Anyway, enough of my blather. Let's get on to what I've done so far. So far, I've applied 2 plugins, 2 tools, and so this is where I put the tools, the plugins for this track right here. These 2, and there each track has its own plugins that manipulate color, process the signal. Okay, and the first one is a kind of compressor. If you don't know what a compressor is, look it up. It has many, quite a number of different uses, okay? But I'm not going to explain that. You can read about it if you don't know. But now what it's doing, this is already a pretty compressed kind of signal. Okay, so what I'm doing is just I'm using this to give it a little bit more focus and a little bit more I can't explain it. Just listen to what it does. So I'm going to sort of like press play and just A/B this thing by turning it off and on, off and on. You see that right there? That's where I'm going to do it. And I'll put it right there so you can see it better. All right. So here it is. I'm going to solo it by clicking this S button right here, S. That means solo means I'm going to hear only this track. Now it's on. Now I'm going to bypass it. And then on again. And so there are wheels and knobs and settings, and for each tool you got to learn how to use them. And so this is one that you actually usually have to pay for, but sometimes when they first release them, you can get it. They give them away for free for a limited time. This is a big company called Waves, and most of their plugins are not free. You have to pay. But I got this one for free, and it's nice. I like it. I use it on almost every track now. And so I've applied IDX. That's what that's called. And this is the one I'm going to focus on tonight. ToneBoosters ReelBus. The more I dig around with, and the more I play around with this plugin, this tool, this might be... Well, this has to go like on the top 5 desert island plugins. Maybe even top 3. It's that good, in my opinion, and especially for my purposes. I'll explain that in a minute. So before I focus on ToneBoosters or TB ReelBus, I'm going to add one other tool here after it to give this guitar sound some. Right now, that guitar sound, even though it's a stereo signal, it's pretty focused on the center of the stereo field. You'll notice, I'm going to go to console view and show you something here. You see these knobs right here? They all say pan, pan, pan. Not as in like the pipes of Pan, but like pan as in pan left, pan right. You see they're all at 12 o'clock. They're all at 0. That's because I very, very, very seldom pan left or right. I mean, that's how you get stereo, right? Some things are more left, some things are more right in the stereo field. I have a hearing impediment in my left ear. And there's like lots of great old music, like from the 60s and 70s, and even after that I can't, but especially from that time period when stereo was like, they were discovering stereo, bands were able to, mix in stereo, and so like some of these old like Beatles songs, you got to whole drum kit is over in the left ear, and on a song like that, the best I can do is put it on some speakers in a room and like sit back a ways so that I get crossover. But like with headphones, I'm usually listening to things with headphones, and for when like the drum kit is in the left ear and the vocal is in the right ear, and things are all panned like that, I can't enjoy it. So for that reason, I technically mix in mono, but I do use tools to create the illusion of a stereo field. So it sounds like it's in stereo, but everything it's kind of symmetrically stereo. So think of it like how a Christmas tree is symmetrical, or the human body is symmetrical, roughly. The right mirrors the left and vice versa. But there is a left and a right, and there are some differences and variations between left and right. It's just that I don't have like one thing panned over here and one thing panned over there. The only panning in this song is that the virtual instrument that I used for the drums, the drum kit, like the tom drums are panned a little bit right and left, but it's no big deal to me. I mean, anyway, so what I'm about to apply is a widener. It's called Wider, and it is right here. So you see when I'm about to add a tool, a plug-in, and I click this little plus right there, and insert audio effects, and I know where it is. It's right here, Polyverse Music Wider. And I click that, and I've inserted my plugin into the chain. The signal passes through in order, first through IDX, then through TB ReelBus, and it passes through this plugin after it has passed through these two. And this is important. Order is important. Just so you know. I want this to be last. I want the signal to be processed by these two before it is spread out over the stereo field. And so let's see what that sounds like. First solo, and then unsoloed and back in the mix. Okay. So I still have ReelBus. Okay, I'm going to have that bypassed. Okay, so you're not going to hear what that's doing yet. So here we go. I'm going to turn it off, bypass, and then press play, and then I'm going to turn it back on. Well, I'm going to turn it back on, and then... Okay, I'm going to turn it on. I can't script everything. And then I'm going to apply it from 0, and you see how it spreads out, and you just kind of gotta find a sweet spot. Now I'm not gonna find the sweet spot until I listen to it in the mix, but I'm gonna play it, solo it first, just so you hear what it does very clearly. Okay, so I'm gonna hit play. Isn't that amazing? I assume you're wearing earphones. If you're not, you might want to listen to this through earphones. It's going to make a lot more sense if you hear it through earphones, okay? Now, why do we want to, why is there a sweet spot? Because, well, this is the last part in the arrangement. This is the last track in the song, and every part needs to, again, this is not going to be too loud or too forward. It needs to blend in, but it needs to have its own distinctive place in the stereo field. And the stereo field is not just left and right; it's also up and down, and it's three-dimensional. Kind of. I mean, yeah. I mean, it's also like, does it sound far or near? Does it sound like it's coming from up, from below? I mean, if you know how to listen, it really is kind of three-dimensional. So you'll see what I mean after we listen to it again in the mix, and I'm going to kind of like turn this up and down until there's a sweet spot where it sounds, better than any other spot. Okay? Hopefully there's going to be a sweet spot. Sometimes there isn't. And then you got to think of something else to do. But I think this should work. So I'm going to unsolo. Okay? And we're going to listen to it in the mix. Let me bring this back down to 0. And, all right, away we go. I'm going to turn it up a little bit for just a few seconds. Now, one thing this, I forgot to mention, a lot of stereo wideners will make the signal sometimes sound louder. So it's a jump in perceived loudness. Sometimes actually make it louder. So in this case, kind of like, look, you can see the volume meter. Right here is where it's peaking, minus 8.6. This one over here. Now, if I bypass wider, let's try this again. All right, so it's peaking around minus 11.9. Now I'm going to turn on wider, and let's see if it peaks a little higher. Yes. So wider is making it a bit louder, so I'm going to compensate by turning it down a little bit more. Just get a little more of a running start here. Okay, I'm just going to leave it there for now. This is not a final setting by any means. It's just that I plan to focus the sound a little bit more, hopefully, so that whatever that sweet spot is going to be a lot more apparent. Okay? You can think of it that, to me, the sound of this guitar is a bit too smeared out. It's not distinct enough. And I'm going to do a couple of things here to give it a lot more distinction. It needs to be reined in and given a place. It's kind of like a rowdy dog or any kind of pet animal, right? It's just like, it needs to know its place. Needs to know its place. So that's what I'm about to do. So that's where I'm going to come in with this tool right here. Now, what is this tool, ReelBus? Well, it is it's an reel-to-reel tape machine emulator, and of course, throughout modern history, there have been many different models of reel-to-reel tape recorders. And in the old days, before the onset of digital technology, in the music production field, that's how, in the old days, it was all recorded to acetate masters or what, it was big black discs, LPs, records, and then, but even back when there were, everything was LPs, they were recording to reel tape, and so that's all. It's analog, called analog sound, and when you do everything digital, as I do, everything's digital processing. Even when I record acoustic guitar through this microphone, it's a USB microphone. It takes that analog sound, that natural sound of the guitar, and it converts it into a digital signal and sends it into the computer, right? And so it's that sound of that acoustic guitar doesn't become an analog signal again until it leaves the speaker and enters the air and creates pressure waves in the air that hit the eardrums, which then sends signals to the brain of the listener. Now, so when you record something like tape, it's quite different. It's not just ones and zeros in a computer. It's a different thing. It's recording with magnetism, with electrons and the basic fundamental forces of nature. It's not just binary computer information. It's a lot more subtle and refined. And there's a lot of things that happen in analog world that we have to emulate in digital world. Things that sound nice and pleasing to the human ear and brain. Now I'm 53 years old. I grew up with LPs and 8-track tapes, cassette tapes. CDs came out, I think, when I was in high school in the late 80s, right? So I'm still kind of an analog guy that's what I prefer. Digital can be quite, if digital audio is not processed with intelligence and taste and skill and wisdom, then, well, see, a lot of people have grown up hearing nothing but digital, and there are people producing music now that with 1 billion views on Spotify, listens on Spotify, and they've never heard anything but MP3s. It's incredible. And they're making stuff that's just unlistenable to people like me. So, yeah, I strive, even though I don't have the wherewithal to have an analog studio. It's just not. If I was like some kind of Tony Stark, independently wealthy, I could afford all that stuff, I had the space for it, then I'd probably give it a try. But, you know, here I am in digital world with digital tools. And I'm very, very grateful to have these tools at my disposal, which go a long way toward imparting an analog sound, feeling, vibe, what have you. And if you really know what you're doing, you're saving your listeners you know, the human brain is what it is, and the human brain likes analog. Yeah. Anyway, enough about that. Sorry, I meander and I'm long format, but it's for if you want to hang out and actually learn something without jump cuts and gimmicks and silliness, right? If you're interested and you're down for this, right? So I'm not going to apologize. This is what I do. Okay, and I'm introducing this tool. It needs a proper introduction. Now, I'm not going to explain what all these knobs do. Okay? I'm just going to stick with presets. These are presets. Okay? And every time you click one of these, all these knobs change around. Okay? Get into the individual knobs and everything on your own. I might tweak something, but I'm not going to explain what I'm doing most of the time. Okay? But this is on a preset called Band Limited right there. Okay? And I've been through quite a number of these presets, and this is the one that I think I like the most. But you're about to hear what it does to the sound. We're going to listen to what it does to the sound of this track solo. Now, I haven't heard it in the context of the mix yet. I just like what it does, the way it makes this track sound solo. That is not to say that it's what I'm going to go with, because I might like it very much the way it sounds solo by itself, but it might not work in the mix. And there are times when whatever works in the mix, I don't like the way it sounds solo, but it doesn't matter. What's important is how it sounds in the mix, of course, right? Okay, so I've chosen this because I like the way it sounds solo. Just to give you an idea, very clear idea of what this tool is doing to the audio signal. Okay, and it's giving it a much more analog sounding, color. It's adding harmonic distortion, very pleasing things to the human ear and the human brain. It's giving it a different color. Some people see colors when they hear sounds. I am one of them. You might not be. Don't worry about that. Just listen, and you determine if it sounds more pleasing to you. Now, before I embark on this, I do have to, I need to pour myself a Coca-Cola, and I've got a elderly pet bunny rabbit who's been under the weather. I got to check on him, make sure he's okay. He's out in his little hidey hole in the living room, and see a man about a horse. And then, so I'm going to put this on pause, and I'll be back in a flash. I realized I forgot to turn the webcam on. So here's my face. Not that you really need to be looking at it, but some people like to see a face. So here it is. Although I'm going to kind of like minimize it a little bit over here where it doesn't get in the way of anything. All right. Okay, so back to our ToneBoosters ReelBus. I'm just going to mute this microphone, and I'm gonna hit play. And I don't know if this track goes on for a couple of minutes, maybe. So while it plays back, I'm just going to click through. I'm going to engage the ReelBus plugin and just click through some presets so you can get more of an idea, not only of what it does, but the range of. It's very versatile. It has a lot of different sounds and colors in it, and it's very useful and free. It came a whole package of, I think, a toolkit of, 23 plugins from the same plugin developer. It's called their Legacy Pack, I think, and they just offered it to everyone for free. It's amazing, really. Okay, so here we go. Let me mute this mic first. Okay. All right. So I just didn't want you to hear my vaping. I also kicked cigarettes. I still like my nicotine. One thing at a time. Okay, so now maybe you have a basic idea of what this thing does. Okay, so once again, off and on. Now, oh, that sounds muffled, you might say. Well, yeah, it does. But sometimes things need to be muffled. They really do. There's not enough muffling that goes on anymore. And I guess people have kind of become acclimatized to, kind of icy, crystalline, like ice needle highs. They're very detailed, but they cause physiological responses in the human brain and body that I don't enjoy, for one. And I make the sounds that I want to hear. So now let's listen to how it's going to sound in the mix. So I'm going to unsolo this. And once again, I'm going to turn off ReelBus, and then I'm going to turn it on and see if that sound, does this tool bring it into more focus? Does it rein it in and give it a pleasing location in the mix? That's the idea. That's the goal. So let's see what it sounds like. Now, here's the thing that I'm listening for. Now, I did this on purpose, not only, for, not only because it serves a purpose in the song, but it also, it gives me a reference when this part kicks in, that little that I do at the very beginning, that little right here. You can hear it, obviously, more clearly here. That. So I still want to be able to hear that. But then after that, I don't want this part to stand out all that much, but I want it to have its place. It's like this. If I want to, and it's not just, I'm not just playing chords that ring out. I'm also doing some arpeggiating on single notes between the chord strums, and I want those to stand out. I want those to kind of poke out through the mix and be discernible and audible, but not too prominent. So if you like that, you can listen to it. Or you can kind of tune it out. It's there as part of the overall sound and overall sonic image. But it's not clamoring for attention, if that makes sense. Okay. So now I'm going to sort of play back through this whole thing again. And just like I did before, I'm going to cycle through some presets, and let's see if my intuition about this was correct. It might not be. I might need a completely different setting on this plugin, but here we go. Big difference, huh? No, that's what I don't want. So far, my intuition was right. Now I'm liking this preset a little bit better. I'm not going to cycle through a whole bunch of different ones because it's not really necessary. I already know I know this tool pretty well by now, and I know the presets that I generally favor. And over biasing, this preset called over biasing. Probably going to go with this one. I like it right now. But I mentioned those individual notes that it's called arpeggiating, when you pick out single notes from a chord. I'm going to find a place in this part where I do that and listen to that part and see if those notes are cutting through or poking through and kind of ringing out the way that I want them to. So I'm going to pause real quick while I find that. Okay, I found it, and this is a good place actually because it's right toward the end of the chorus and leading into the bridge where I do quite a bit more arpeggiating. But I do want it to be audible in the chorus section. If I can make it happen that way. It's not totally necessary, but it would be nice. So here's what that's going to sound like solo. It's this section right here. So now there are some settings in this plugin that make some settings that will make those single arpeggiated notes ring out more clearly. But it's like everything is a trade-off, right? Yep, for the most part, usually. So I might change the setting to get that thing that I want, but I might not like what it's doing for the part as a whole in the mix, right? So it's like I might not be willing to make that trade-off because it's more important that it sounds good in the mix as a whole than to have those notes be prominent to any degree. Okay, but now let's hear if they're ringing out in the mix. So unsolo and play. Not so much, right? But now here's another thing to try. Is I'm gonna hit play, and then I'm gonna click the mute button on this track, so suddenly you can't hear it. It's not in the mix anymore, and let's just hear what we call the dropout. How noticeable of a difference is there when I mute the part during playback? Okay, well, it is noticeable. It is adding something. So far, so good. It could be better. So now I'm going to kind of like, I'm going to start here. Changing this setting. This is a different type of machine. It's going to make this a little bit more bright. It's going to make it a little bit more bright, and we're going to see if we can hear those notes any more clearly now. All right. Maybe a tiny bit more. Let's hear the dropout. More noticeable dropout, but still not really hearing those notes. Now, I could increase the volume of the track in the mix, but that's really not. I like the level that it's at. That's kind of a not a very. It's not. I want something more precise to make this happen without bringing the level up. Okay, so we're dealing in like. Accentuating frequencies rather than just bringing the volume of the whole thing up. I'd like to selectively bring up the volume of certain frequencies. I could use compression to do that, but I'm not gonna yet. I'm not gonna try that yet. So let me see here. I'm gonna try. I'm just gonna try a different preset altogether. First, I'm going to solo it again. And just to make this a little bit, this is a workflow thing. I'm going to loop a section of this, and it plays the same section over and over while I go through different settings on here. So the way I do that is I click this. Where is it? Right here. Loop. Okay, and am I in the right place for that? Hang on. No. All right. Going to zoom out here. Zooming out. And right up here, this yellow bracket thing right here. That's where the loop is going to take place. I want it to take place over here. So I don't know why I have to do this, but okay, it's going to be roughly like right around there. And click this button. No, okay. There's some things about this, some features that I still haven't totally gotten the gist of, even to this day. Click right there. Let's just see if it loops. Make it much shorter here. All right, let's see if that loops. Solo. Okay, it's looping. Okay, so probably about like that. That's good. I like that setting actually, but there, okay. Those notes are ringing out a little bit more, but it's more trebly in general, you know. Whoops. Uh-oh. 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 I might have crashed it. Did I crash it? I might have crashed the program. That does happen from time to time. Okay, let me pause it and deal with this. And I'll be back. All right, I am back. I had to go into Control-Alt-Delete and just force quit Cakewalk, and I had neglected to save after I inserted the plugins, so I had to go back and do that again. And now here's a good habit up here in the left-hand corner where you can't really see it because of the light from the computer monitor, but it's up there. There's a save button. Save. Okay. Cakewalk doesn't have auto save, which is, well, nothing's perfect, right? So it's a good habit to, every time you make any important changes, just habitually click the save button if you're sure, of course. If you're making moves that you're highly unsure of, like big moves that you're not sure about, it's good to save as and be able to retrace your steps if need be, right? But anyway, so I think I found, I was trying to remember what preset I was in when the crash happened, and I couldn't exactly remember, but I picked this one called Real Saturation. And those notes are now poking out a little bit more. I've got the loop set, and I'll just start with, let's say, subtle saturation, which is a setting that I often use. And then, so I'm going to let that loop through, and then I'm going to put it back to real saturation and see if we can hear the diff. Again, this is in the mix. I'm not going to solo it. Here we go. So they are poking out a little bit more there, but again, I'm not sure I'm happy with that part as a whole. It's kind of tonal texture and color right now, but so it's a decision I'm going to have to make. Now, what is the difference between these two settings? Well, this is a very important setting right here. This is the machine that it's emulating. And these Japanese machines tend to be really trebly and bright. Right? So this one is set, in this preset, it's a Japanese machine. And in this preset, it's the professional setting, which is also bright, though. That's a bright one. So, look, just for the... I'm going to go back to the beginning where this part comes in. I'm going to put it on this preset and just kind of do the dropout thing and just get a sense of whether I like the part as a whole with this setting. Okay, so I'm gonna I wonder if I can leave that loop thing there. I think I can, and come back to it if I want. Let's see what happens when I hit play. Yeah, it's a bit too much, man. Oh, did you hear that? Right there. Those three notes. Okay, now that's a better place to pick. Now, I'm going to, right, so I'm going to nix that loop and going to focus on that little part right there. Those three notes are ringing out really nice. Now, I just would like to tone down the overall timbre. I'd like to make it a little bit more dark, this part, and see if those still ring out. Because if those do ring out at a darker setting, I'm going to be happy. Now, all right, well, let me just, there's all kinds of things you can do, right? But the idea is to get what you want with as few tools as need be, you know? So let's just go with this one right here and see what we hear this time. That's nice. That's nice. Okay, now I'm going to go darker still. Okay. Wait a minute. Hang on a second. Did that start from the same place? Yeah, right there. Okay, now. All right. Yeah. Now to the darker setting. Still, the notes are still there, but they're quite a bit, a little bit more buried. So, I'm just going to try something. I'm going to go back to this one. And I'm going to add another tool. Also, from the same toolkit, the ToneBoosters ReelKit. It's one that's called EasyQ. And I'm going to move it in the chain right after ReelBus over here. And I'm going to move this. This is a tone control. It's an EQ. And I'm going to move it over more toward. So this is kind of fine tuning, maybe. I'm hoping. Maybe I can darken it just a little bit. I can achieve kind of a compromise or a balance. So here we go. I'm going to move it over toward like dark and warm a little bit. Okay. Okay. Let's move it a little bit more this way. That's fine. Maybe not quite so much. It's right there. All right, that's about right. Now, as I said, there's this bridge section. You see where this is vocal bridge. That's the vocal part during the bridge section, and I do quite a bit more arpeggiating in here, but these two synth parts drop out during that section. So we'll just see what happens. Let's just start it from right here. And I'm going to listen, just let it play and listen to the bridge section and the arpeggiations in there. Mute, that's the dropout. Okay, that's good. All right, so I'm interested, if I can, let's go back roughly that section again. I'm not going to mess around with the loop thing right now. Okay, that's good. On solo. You know, it's not as, those notes, they're still there. They're not as pronounced as I would like them to be, but this is not over yet. And I'm not going to, this is just to give you an idea of the workflow and kinds of things that I go after. And I'm not going to nail this on the fly during this recording session. Of this recording of this video session, but that's the idea. That's what I'm working towards, and right. So that's good enough for that right now. Now I'm going to add a time-based tool and a volume-based tool. It's a modulation tool. It's a tremolo. If you don't know what a tremolo is, you're about to find out. And after I add this, I'm going to have to bring the volume back up. Whoops. Okay, insert audio effects. Oh, well, wait a minute. One thing I also want to do is go back to my stereo field tool and sweep again and see if there's any more of a sweet spot. So might as well start right where I am. quite a lot louder. I want to go back to where this part kicks in again. Yeah, it's too much of a That's okay. I would like a little bit of a ramp up in volume, a little bit. Okay, so the other parts are pretty spread out around the stereo field, and I'm liking this one a little bit more focused toward the center. So I've got it right around 79, 80 right now, and that's where I'm going to leave it. So here is that, it's a modulation tool, modulation effect. Zeek STFU. You see it kind of like pulsing there. It's pulsing in time with the beats per minute, the tempo of this song, which is 110 beats per minute. You can see it right there. It is in 3/4 time, and it is pulsing in time. There's a internal clock in the DAW cakewalk. This whole song is set to that clock. So you can see it says sync right here. Okay. And there are some patterns here. And well, let's just see what this one sounds like. I'm going to start solo. Obviously, that's too extreme. So it's turning it up and down, the volume up and down in beat, in time with the tempo. That's what this one sounds like, right? That's kind of interesting, huh? All right. I'm just going to go for a classic tremolo sound. I don't want anything too pronounced. I just want a pulse. So I'm going to drag these nodes to kind of make for a more gentle modulation. Just want a pulse. All right, now let's listen to it again. All right. Now you notice that chuk that I do at the beginning of the part is kind of getting lost in this. Now I can do something about that, but first let's make sure that again I'm going to have to turn the volume back over here, up over here. The volume fader. It's called a fader. So first we're going to re-level this in the mix so we can hear it, but it's going to be a lot different this time, and hopefully better. This is also kind of a form of, you could think of this as a form of compression in a way. And hopefully I'm going to get everything that I want in this maneuver. So let's find out. I'm going to unsolo it. And let's just bring it up all the way up to like -3. And let's see what it sounds like. Right. You can hear that pulse, right? Dong dong ding, dong dong ding, right there. Let's see if we hear that in the mix. Well, not really, but I'm gonna save real quick. Save. All right. But it sounds really nice. And now, here's another thing I can do. Length. Is that where I set this? Hang on. Mode beats. Hang on. Why isn't this working? Wait a minute. Sync. Length. I should be able to modify this. I should be able to make this pulse faster. I could also do it kind of out at... This might be interesting. I like that better. But clicking on this button here, nothing's happening. That? No. So instead of pulsing like wah, 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 I should be able to make it go wah, 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 wah. And I've done that with this plugin before, and I thought I did it right here, but for some reason, it's not giving me that option right now. So I guess that's something I'm going to have to figure out at a later time. That's odd. We're just going to go with this for now. Okay, that's kind of, it's going to bug me until I forget about it, which will be in a few seconds if I just focus and plow ahead. That does bug me though. Arr. Okay, shake it off. All right. I'd kind of like it to pulse faster. So that's why I'm a little bit annoyed right now. Okay, forget about it. Focus. All right. So I did notice that that little chicka is there. It's not missing when it kicks in. Let me try it again. All right. Can I to drown in its healing? Yeah, it's nice. And those notes are ringing out. All right. Yeah. That's good enough for now. That's good enough for a video. Hopefully instructive and hopefully inspiring to somebody. Could make that just a little bit more pronounced. The pulse was getting a little bit too faint. I don't want it too strong. I don't want it too weak, right? But that's good right there. Let's hear it kick in one more time. Right there. Yeah. Well, hey, man. That might even be done. I'm really liking it. And sometimes, in this work, it's really one of the nice things about it is just trying different things and exploring lots of different possibilities and but as with anything, moderation is key. And you could just wander endlessly through infinite possibilities and never finish anything. So Yeah. And then it might happen that you found a sound, a setting that you really like, and then but you keep pushing and you keep trying different things, and then if you didn't write that thing down or you can't remember it, then I've learned that it's just a little bit of wisdom. Sometimes if it's sounding good, especially when you've been at this for a little while and you know what you're going for, sometimes if you like it, if it's hitting you in the right way, sometimes it's best just to call it a day. And or just maybe say, okay, because that's the other thing. Depending on your personality, if you're an alcoholic, then you've got problems with impulse control and moderation in general, and it's you can't do this for too long at a stretch. At least you have to take breaks. You got to get up and check on your pet, check on your spouse, touch grass, as they say. Just get up and walk around the house, water the plants, stare out the window, and then come back. And then if you've been at it for, even with breaks, you just have to know when to, because your ears and your brain need a rest and a reset. And sometimes, things will sound really great. You think they sound really great, and then you sleep on it, come back the next day, and no. And the opposite is also true. Sometimes you think, oh man, this is just not working, and this doesn't sound good, and you just give up. And then you come back the next day and, hey, well, actually, this isn't so bad. Or actually, this is really good. But you get a sense for that with experience, right? But my horse sense is telling me that this is really good, and I'm not going to monkey around with it anymore. I'm going to turn my attention. I'm not actually done yet. I'm not fatigued yet, but I am going to turn my attention to the matter of I need to master this for upload to YouTube, which is another topic which I've been touching on in recent videos. But basically, I need to master this for, I need to make sure it's not too loud. The overall perceived loudness doesn't exceed a certain standard, which is it's not a perfect standard by any means, but it is one of those standards that actually should be in place. Some effort should be made to curtail humans' baser impulses, which in this case is everybody wants to be louder than everybody else. And it becomes this, what they call the loudness wars. And it just, it already has descended into just, people need regulations, unfortunately. Anyway, getting on 2 hours here. Might as well just show you what that looks like. So, all right, this is done for now. And I'm going to treat it as such. I'm going to do a thing called Shift F, where okay, now Everything is in one window here. And I'm going to go to the beginning of the song. And going to turn on this loudness meter and play through the whole song. Let's see. I wonder if I can show the video and the loudness meter at the same time. Here's the video, and it should. No. I hope. Okay. Oh, it looks all right. I'm going to save real quick. Save. Excuse me. Now, this loudness meter can't be made any smaller. So, let's just see real quick. I'm going to drag this out of the way and just see how much space the video takes up. Okay, there's the video. All right. All right. Yeah, I'm just making sure mentally that's the right. Okay. All right. So let me bring this meter back and see if we can. No. Well, you're not going to be able to see the. Yeah, I can. Well, what can I do? Yeah, I can do that. We don't need to see this right-handed part of the meter. Just need to see this number right here. Integrated LUFS. This, it's not hard and fast, okay? But the idea is the target is minus 14. Minus 14. If it goes up to, now, the lower the number, the higher the volume. So minus 10 is louder than minus 14, right? So if it goes up to like minus 13.7, you know, I'm not going to get too anal about it. That's gross. I'm not going to get too particular about it. But I've added a part. And one thing I need to do, I've learned through experience, is after adding a part and putting plugins in and doing all that, that's right. I need to make sure I save, and I need to quit Cakewalk and restart Cakewalk and reopen the project file. So I'm going to pause and do that and be back in a second, in an instant for you. All right, so I need to check on one more thing. Hang on. All right, so it's all good. Going to play this thing all the way through. And again, here is the number that we're looking at, integrated LUFS. We're going to see if that exceeds minus 14. And if it exceeds it by too much, then I'm going to have to make some adjustments up here in the master channel. Okay. But this is World War I footage. I kind of lucked into it. There's some interesting synchronicities. So, if you made it this far, obviously you're into this. And I'm going to mute the microphone, and I hope you enjoy it. And when it's done, I'll be back for some closing remarks. Okay.
drop to my knees, time to raise my hands, mouthing silent pleas. Can I cry it out? Can I take to task reasons for all my doubts down there? Would it be too much to ask? I don't know. Where was I going when the light wasn't showing? The path pulled out from under my gaze. And where was it leading? Past the end of the bleeding, the wounds cauterized by the blaze of an anger too tired to keep feeding a fire that had swept all my soul up in smoke. And where was the meaning in such drifting and dreaming when the drapes parted and I awoke beyond words and alone to the shapes of my bones, my bones. Is this time to atone for my confusion, or to stick out my chin and shed the old skin of disbelief? And this light as it is, boundless as the black seas I once crossed in defiance, can I too drown in its healing? Where was I going when the light wasn't showing? The path pulled out from under my gaze. And where was it leading? Past the end of
All right, so there was a little bit of glitching in the playback there. Not too bad, but a little bit. Sorry about that, but my computer is like 7 years old, and it is a gaming laptop, but the audio work can really tax a CPU. That is one limitation that you might run into with your computer. But there's, you work with it. You work with what you have. You figure it out. So peaked at minus 14.1. That's great. I could tweak it to, bring it all the way up to, but it's just 0.1. There's going to be no audible difference. So as far as I'm concerned, I've been working on this so long. This one. I've been working on it for weeks now, I think. But that's actually not that long. I've got things I've been working on for months. But I'm pretty sure this is ready to go. So I'm going to take a break and check on my poor elderly bunny rabbit who's 100 years, human years, and he's showing signs of decline. I think he's not going to be around a lot longer, so I'm going to go check on him. And gosh, it's already 4:30 a.m. here, but that's par for the course for me. Although I'm trying to I still have problems sleeping at night. Sleep is a big problem for a lot of people who are, if you've been drinking for all of your adult life and then suddenly you're not anymore. I mean, that's one, it's actually not sleep. Alcohol will make you pass out, but it's not real sleep that you're getting. And I do sleep quite well when I do sleep. Too well, actually, sometimes, but I'm still a night owl, man. But it's much better. It's so much better, really. Without booze, sleep is a lot better. It wasn't that way at first, man. It was a real struggle, but my sleep schedule is still all over the place. And that's really, really difficult to recalibrate. I don't even know if it's possible at this point. I mean, I'm into my mid-50s now. But life goes on, and it's generally much better. And creatively, I'm doing the best work of my life. No question. It's like it's not even close. What I'm achieving now, I just never thought I had it in me. And, yeah, I could go on and on. If you need to get that influence out of your life, and it may even be a matter of survival at this point, reach out to me. Consider reaching out to me. Obviously, I'm not anybody's savior. I can only try to do what I can. And if you're one of those people that can't be helped, then I sense that, I'm just going to tell you, I'm sorry, I don't think I can help you. But I'm here. Give me a try. So, anyway, that's it from lovely, scenic Paju City, South Korea, which is where I am. where I live. Just a few kilometers south of the North Korean border. On a cold winter night, cold winter morning. I wish you the best, whoever you are. And, of course, that includes my friends who sometimes even make it all the way through these crazy long videos. Josh, it's been great to see more of you recently. And I watched your live streams earlier tonight. I couldn't help but chuckle at your sleep karaoke. That was pretty funny. You're a good singer too. You got better pipes than I do, man. More accurate. You got a nice vibrato when you want to. And you got a falsetto. You got a good falsetto, man. I wish I had a good falsetto. Yeah, I watched both of them where the comments were disabled. I wouldn't have commented anyway. I just wanted to hear you talk. Tell your stories. It was good. So I hope you're keeping well. And Ninko, I don't really hear from you much anymore. We still had Ninko. All right. I still haven't forgotten. You had a proposal. I said yes. And until you tell me that you don't want to do that anymore, it's still something that I have somewhere on the table. All right. Now, I know that you're going through a crisis that hopefully you only have to go through once in your life. I get it. I mean, I get it. So take as long as you need, but I just want you to know I'm in a holding pattern here. I'm continuing to do my work. And if you would like to, at any point, go back to that project that we talked about, it's still here if you want to do it. And DJ, haven't heard from you in a couple of days. I lost a subscriber after I posted that mastering AI generated pop for Spotify. I thought maybe I've got some subscribers that might just see that video title and say, fuck this guy. But it's not what it seems. If you haven't watched it, you should. Oh, I've watched that thing but 4 or 5 times, and I just start churgling with laughter, especially towards the end every single time. I won't say any more. It really did. It didn't turn out the way I intended. I had sincere intentions to, for me it was an exercise, and it was just something I did out of curiosity and for a friend. But it kind of, I don't know. It was amusing in various ways, and there were things that were occurring to me as I went along with it that were just making me laugh, and I just found myself being I don't know. Yeah, I mean, he's a friend, but some things need some gentle poking fun at. And Scott, if you're listening to me talking about it right now, yeah, I mean, I was being kind of catty. But hey, I mean, it is what it is. Anybody who's ever worked for weeks or months laboriously crafting a piece of music, all the thousands of problems to be solved, decisions to be made, missteps, detours, frustrations, the blood, sweat, and tears, not to be cliched, but don't be surprised if they're not falling over themselves with, enthusiasm and mad respect for your programming skills with an AI. It's just not. Just be realistic, man. It's just not real. It's not a realistic thing to expect. Peter's a muso. Expect him to. He's Peter, for crying out loud. Expect him to be polite to you about that shit. I'm polite about it. But in all honesty, it's not. I mean, yeah, is it a skill that you have to program an AI? Yeah. Is it a skill that most people don't possess? Yeah. Is it anywhere in the same league as tracking all the instruments and doing just everything that goes into an original composition that you make from scratch? No. It's not even on the same continent. That's just fact. I don't say that in a mean-spirited way. It's just, it is what it is, man. And I don't know why you have a chip on your shoulder about it. But anyway, I detected in your messages at around this time, last night, late morning, a little bit of passive-aggressive vibe, perhaps even some anger, which you probably, maybe you don't remember sending those messages. I don't know. But there was definitely there was a little bit of a snarl in them, and it's whatever. I mean, you want to remix my song, do you, Scott? I don't think so. I don't think that's what you meant, buddy. I don't think that's what you meant at all. But anyway, you keep doing you, man. That's what it's all about. To thine own self be true. Do it, man. It's your birthright as a embodied soul on this planet, careening around the star, or this dome, or whatever you think it is. This dome with a fiery disc going in a circle around it. I don't know. Anyway, whatever. You do you, man. And that's it from lovely, scenic Paju City, South Korea. Over and out.